Sister Sundaridata, who manages to do it all.
Was that Robert? We saw.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is it?
I think we are live on YouTube.
Okay.
And Namrita Kishore is a co-host. I think we can.
Haribol. Okay, so I will attempt to share my screen. And we will read the verse. We're reading 11:7:6. Oh, good Lord. Screen. And share screen. Okay, hopefully I'm sharing my screen now. You can see?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. So we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam 11:7:6. Again, welcome to morning class at the Bhakti Center for those of you joining live on Zoom. Tvam tu sarvam parityajnaya sneham svajana bandhushu maya veshya manasamyak samadrigvicharasvagam. Skipping the synonyms and going to the translation because it's a long purport. Now you should completely give up all attachment to your personal friends and relatives and fix your mind on me. Thus, being always conscious of me, you should observe all things with equal vision and wander throughout the earth. Purport by the disciples of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Srimad Virargava Acharya has explained the concept of equal vision as follows. One who is on the path of self-realization should always endeavor to see the ultimate spiritual nature of all existence. The word Mai in this verse means Paramatmani. One should fix one's mind on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the source of everything. Thus, as one passes one's life on earth, using up one's allotted time, one should practice seeing all things and all people as part and parcel of the absolute truth, the personality of Godhead. Since all living entities are part and parcel of Krishna, ultimately they all have the same spiritual status. The material nature, also being an emanation of Krishna, has a similar spiritual status. But although matter and spirit are both emanations from the personality of Godhead, they do not exist exactly on the same level. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said that the spirit soul is the superior energy of the Lord, whereas the material nature is his inferior energy. However, since Lord Krishna is equally present in all things, the word samadrik in this verse indicates that one must ultimately see Krishna within everything and everything within Krishna. Thus, equal vision is compatible with mature knowledge of the varieties present within this world. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments as follows on this verse, quote, "At the end of his manifest pastimes on the earth, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, thought as follows within his mind. During my pastimes on the earth, I have satisfied the desires of all those devotees who have anxiously desired to see me. I have duly married thousands of queens headed by Rukmini, whom I have personally kidnapped, and I have killed innumerable demons in various places and by various means. I have attended meetings, reunions, and ceremonies with many friends, relatives, and well-wishers in cities such as Vrindavan, Mathura, Dwarka, Hastinapur, and Mithila. And thus I have constantly kept busy coming and going in the performance of pastimes. I further arranged to give my personal association to great devotees who are situated below the earthly planet. In order to please my mother Devaki and return her 6 deceased sons who were killed by Kamsa, I descended to the planet Sutala and blessed my great devotee Bali Maharaj. In order to return the dead son of my spiritual master, Sandipani Muni, I personally went to the court of Ravindananda or Yamaraj, and thus he was able to see me face to face. I even bless the residents of heaven, such as Mother Aditi and Kashyapa Muni, with my personal association when I traveled there to steal the Parijata flower for my wife Satyabhama. And in order to please the inhabitants of Mahavishnu's abode, such as Nanda, Sunanda, and Sudarshana, I traveled to Mahavaikuntaloka to recover the deceased children of a frustrated Brahmana. Thus, innumerable devotees who ardently desired to see me have received the object of their prayers. Unfortunately, Naranarayana Rishi and the great Paramahamsa sages who live with him in Badarikashrama, although most enthusiastic to see me, never had their desire fulfilled. I have been on earth for 125 years, and the scheduled time is now up. Being busily engaged in my pastimes, I did not have time to give my blessings to these great sages. Nevertheless, Uddhava is practically the same as me. He is a great devotee and shares my own transcendental opulences. Thus, he is the right person for me to send to Badarikashrama. I shall give Uddhava complete transcendental knowledge by which one becomes detached from the material world, and he in turn can deliver this knowledge, the science of transcending the kingdom of illusion, to the worthy sages at Badarikashrama. In this way, he can teach them the method of rendering loving devotional service to my lotus feet. Such loving devotional service rendered to me is the most valuable treasure, and by hearing such knowledge, the desires of the great sages, such as Naranarayana, will be completely fulfilled. Those great souls who have surrendered unto me are always equipped with transcendental knowledge and detachment from the material world. Sometimes being busy in their devotional service, they may appear to forget me. However, a pure devotee who has achieved the platform of love for me will always be protected by such sincere devotion. Even if such a devotee should suddenly give up his life while neglecting to fix his mind intensely on me, such a devotee's loving feelings are so powerful that they afford him all protection. Even if there is a temporary moment of forgetfulness, such devotion will bring the devotee to my lotus feet, which are beyond the vision of ordinary materialistic persons. Uddhava is my pure devotee. Knowledge of me and detachment from this world have again been aroused in him because he can never give up my association. End quote. That's the end of what Krishna was thinking, according to Srila Vishwanath Chakrabarti Thakur. So, resuming the purport, the sincere servants of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are vigorously endeavoring to spread this Krishna consciousness movement for the pleasure of their spiritual master and Lord Krishna. At the present time, thousands of devotees in the Krishna consciousness movement in all parts of the world are working long hours under difficult conditions to distribute transcendental literature and thus enlighten the general populace. In this effort, the devotees have no personal motivation, but are simply desirous of pleasing their spiritual master by distributing his books. The people who receive his literature usually have no previous experience of Krishna consciousness, yet they are so impressed by the purity of the devotees they meet that they eagerly purchase the books and magazines. In order to execute the tremendous task of spreading Krishna consciousness, the devotees are tirelessly laboring day and night because they are on the platform of loving devotion. Although superficially such busy devotees may occasionally not think directly of the lotus feet of Krishna, such loving devotion will undoubtedly take them back to Krishna's lotus feet. And being pleased by their service, the Lord himself will again arouse their unflinching meditation upon his personal form. This is the beauty of Bhakti Yoga, which depends wholly and solely on the mercy of the all-merciful personality of Godhead Sri Krishna. This is the only totally safe means of uprooting the deep desires for material enjoyment, attaining pure love for Krishna, and going beyond the material universe to the kingdom of God. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 240, Neha Bhikramanashosti Pratyavayo na vidyate Svalpamapyasya dharmasya Trayate mahato bayat. Lord Krishna also advised Uddhava in this verse to give up the illusory attachment to so-called friends and family within this material world. One may not be able to physically give up association with family and friends, but one should understand that everyone and everything is part and parcel of God and is meant for the pleasure of God. As soon as one thinks, This is my personal family. Immediately, one will see the material world as no more than a place for enjoying family life. As soon as one is attached to one's so-called family, false prestige and material possessiveness arise. As soon as one is attached to one's so-called family, false prestige and material possessiveness arise. Actually, everyone is part and parcel of God, and therefore on the spiritual platform, related to all other entities. This is called Krishna Sambandha, or the constitutional relationship with Krishna. It is not possible to advance to the highest stage of spiritual awareness and at the same time maintain a petty material concept of society, friendship, and love. One should experience all relationships on the higher spiritual platform of Krishna Sambandha, which means seeing everything in relation to Lord Krishna, the personality of Godhead. One who is situated in his constitutional relationship with Krishna can see all things in relation to Krishna. He thus gives up the mundane urges of the body, mind, and speech, and travels throughout the earth as a devotee of the Lord. Such a highly elevated personality is called Goswami, or master of the senses. This stage is described in Bhagavad Gita 18:54 by the words Brahmabhuta Prasanatma. On the spiritual platform, one attains complete satisfaction. Hare Krishna. Okay. There is a lot here. What is the general consensus of the group? Would we like to go through this paragraph or parse it out, or would we like to hear Prabhupada and hear a class of Prabhupads?
Maybe we can have a small discussion because I have a question.
Okay, sure.
Um, in Srimad Bhagavatam, there's this verse 1088:8. It's Canto 10, chapter 88, verse 8. 10:3:8. It's a famous verse. It goes, "The personality of Godhead said, if I especially favor someone, I gradually deprive him of his wealth. Then the relatives and friends of such a poverty-stricken man abandon him. In this way he suffers one distress after another," Krishna says. And in the verse that we read today, we heard how Krishna recovered someone's diseased sons. He defeated this demon. He, protected this devotee in that way and that devotee in this way. So how come Krishna doesn't mention the fact that he also takes away certain things from us when he especially favors us? How do we reconcile the two ways Krishna deals with us? That's an open question.
Yeah, maybe I can start and then others can chime in. And please, active participation is so valued in these classes. It's so nice to hear from everyone. Yeah, so just to make sure I understand what you're asking, you're saying, so Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives kind of a view into Krishna's mind in this verse, which he does in many of his purports, where he kind of gives like almost like a cartoon version with these thought bubbles of what the various characters are thinking in Srimad Bhagavatam. And here he's ascribing Krishna these thoughts, which of course he can do as an elevated soul, that Krishna is basically kind of recounting everything that's happened in his manifest pastimes on the earth, right? That he kidnapped Rukmini and all the things he did, including, liberating the demons by killing them. So it wasn't all just positive things, right? In Nanda Bahari, he kind of gave,
Right.
the more challenging, whatever, the ways that Krishna deals with those who need correction and how merciful he is to them, even though they're causing all this trouble and being demons on the earth. He kills them, which may seem harsh, but he's actually giving them liberation, which we read many times in Srimad Bhagavatam, that so many sages, meditate their whole lifetimes and go through all these austerities to get this liberation, whereas asuras on one hand just act like demons and then they get liberated just by being killed by Krishna. So he's giving, I feel like, a complete view of the various ways that Krishna deals with situations in order to fulfill his mission, which is to, elevate and save the devotees and to cleanse the earth of demons and sort of restore balance. But your question specifically is, why does he not mention this particular path that he takes of, when he especially favors somebody, of taking everything from them and kind of reducing them to a helpless state with their family and friends, abandon them, and then they have no choice but to turn to Krishna. I don't know, does anybody have any thoughts about why he may not be mentioning that, or how we reconcile all the different ways that Krishna handles devotees and his dealings on earth?
Yeah, why didn't Krishna just say, these are not your sons? This place is not for enjoyment. You're attached to your family members. Why did he go so far as to recover the deceased sons of his spiritual master? I mean, I'm playing devil's advocate here, but it's a great subject to
Yeah, I think it's a wonderful subject. Does anyone have any thoughts on that?
So he was recovering the Brahmana's sons because is it like Arjuna made that promise? Because yeah. So the Brahmana was so frustrated, he was questioning the existence of Yudhishthir Maharaj's authority. So when the father is alive, the sons should not be dead. And then Arjuna took it very personally, so he has to maintain the reputation of Yudhishthir Maharaj. And then Krishna wanted to also protect Arjuna. And then there are simultaneously many other things. He wants to give darshan to uh, Mahavishnu and then a lot of other things. Yeah, so that is maybe in one shot, there are many things Krishna is doing. So yeah, and then many times Krishna didn't protect also, like Abhimanyu, so he did not protect, the son of Arjuna himself. Krishna did not protect. So even Parikshit Maharaj, Krishna did not protect in one way. So yeah. So
Thank you, Panditji.
What about I have a question, in this verse, it's talking about equal vision, right? And how we should see everything in Krishna and Krishna in everything. But it says also very explicitly that one should give up attachment to one's so-called family and friends. And it's very sort of, kind of quite certainly stated here. Curious how do people think about this? I think this is something that comes up a lot in Krishna consciousness, sort of reconciling your Krishna consciousness with attachment to family and friends. Maybe if
Sadhvi had her hand up about the other question.
Oh, great. Okay, before we move on, maybe you guys can think about that one. Satvi, go ahead.
Hare Krishna, it's not a question. I can say how I understand it when you say, why do Krishna take away everything from you before, in the beginning? In my understanding, the material thing, whatever I have, it was not mine to begin with. It's not ours to begin with. So actually, I come with nothing, and if I don't have nothing, then I didn't lose anything. So the thing are actually material thing. They are illusion acting. So you can't think that you're losing anything. The children is not mine to begin with. The children also is Krishna's. So, but I have that privilege to take care of them, to help them, to get them to be more spiritual in their activity and so on. But it's not mine. They are not mine. I just get to take care of them. This is my understanding.
That is such a beautiful understanding. You got a lot of nods from Adi Purush. You got hearts from Jamuna Jaya and Dave Hogan. So I think, yeah, that's a very that's such a helpful way of seeing it, right? That they're not ours to begin with, and that it's a privilege to be able to take care of our family. And in that way, it's maybe an easier access point to see Krishna in them, right? Because when we hear about equal vision, it seems like a very lofty kind of elevated spiritual space that we might not ever be able to achieve. But when you think about it that way, that they're Krishnas to begin with, then it makes it easier to see Krishna in them, right? Like he's their father.
Exactly. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah. Adi, please.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You said very nicely that Krishna does different things at different times. And his intention, no matter how it manifests, is to help us to have a real, solid, dependable source of satisfaction. We have a tendency to arrange things around us, and then we think that that will make it easy for us and make it safe and comfortable. I was watching one podcast, not podcast, a newscast, and it was in Alabama. I mentioned this before, and there was a cyclone that went through this little town, and it tore everything to pieces. And of course, the newsmen were right there with the microphone, running around. People were crying, "Oh, I can't find my mother's picture," and the house is broken, you know. And then, right near the feet of the newscaster lady, there was a trap door that opened up, and a man came out holding a little baby, and there was a toddler and his wife, and they came out, and their house was shredded. It was completely dust. It wasn't even like broken pieces. It was just completely, discombobulated. And so the lady ran over with the microphone. "What do you think, sir? What do you think?" And he said, "Well, the good Lord giveth, and the good Lord taketh away. Blessed be the name of the Lord."
Mm-hmm.
That, everything, he lost everything, but his faith was such that he was confident that Krishna's loving hand was there. And no matter what Krishna does, giving, taking away, moving things around, this thing in this verse about the instruction, just go travel over the earth and, oh my God, these guys that are doing this renounced order thing and traveling around, you never know. Krishna's been asking me to go to these different places lately. We went down to Princeton a couple of times this month, and to go so far from my cozy little, situation for sleeping and eating, and to go far away and to be literally, it's like at the mercy, would it cast your fate to the wind kind of thing. But if we go and we have the intention of serving Krishna, that's the one thing we can be attached to, because we can do that under any circumstance. Maybe I'm talking too long, but
No,
there
not
is a
at all.
platform of, you know what? Do what you want with me, Lord. I'm yours. And then we'll be happy and safe and satisfied under any circumstance. Well, glory to Srila Prabhupada, who showed us by his own example.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Adi Prabhu. Jamuna Jaya, I see you have your hand up.
Hare Krishna. First of all, thank you, Sadhvi, for saying what you said so beautifully. That was such a beautiful point, and we see that actually in this long purport. That's Krishna saying it. It's like when, and Krishna tells us this in the Bhagavad Gita: one who sees with eagle vision sees everyone the same. So Sadhvi's point is really capturing Krishna's point. So, but I wanted to, the question that you posed, Lady Marjorie, that what's the wonderful thing about those verses that make us cringe about detachment from family and stuff like that, in the Bhagavad Gita 13:8 through 12, which is the beautiful list of what Krishna thinks is knowledge. And I remember Jai Jagannath would say that, yeah, we like it at the beginning, like humility, timelessness, tolerance, but then it goes from, distaste to family, and the rest is living alone. And then there's the inconceivable thing that Queen Kunti says, like, cut my attachments to family after she just spent 13 years in the forest with them. But what I've always heard, and it's really so beautiful, particularly with the Queen Kunti thing, it's not she's asking for a love that's more inclusive than exclusive. It's
Say that
really
again,
an
Jamuna Jaya.
asking for
I didn't
a
follow. What? Say the last part of what you said about inclusive and
It's
exclusive.
yeah, a class is asking for love that's more inclusive than exclusive. We tend to only love our people,
Right,
our family,
right.
our nation, people that agree with us. And what Krishna, again, going back to Swati's point, that, we say the purport that that's not how Krishna loves. So Queen Kunti in her prayers is actually saying, open up the gates of love. Let me love everyone with that love. And it's not because we take such ownership over my people, my family, my
Right.
nation, my, whatever. And that's cutting off other people. That's cutting off other people. And what Krishna's saying here and says a lot. It's all his energy. So when we hear these verses about cutting away from family and friends, it's from what I've always been explained, it's more of an opening up to everyone. And again, seeing them, like Sati says, and like that they're actually not mine anyways. I
Right.
am there to serve them, but also to open up the gates of love. So it's not just these little nuggets of people that we love, that it's really for
Yeah.
all. So that's
So
my,
everyone is my family.
yeah.
Right.
Hare Krishna.
Dave Hogan, do you want to add anything? I see you nodding here in agreement.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. A lot of what everyone's been saying. I think from my own experience of taking care of my grandfather, I saw that as a privilege to kind of help him towards the end of his life, and I think whilst he was my grandfather, I didn't see it as attachment. I just saw it as a beautiful thing to, like Jamuna just said, open up the gates of love. That being in this position of a caretaker, and just offering him what I could as a person. So
Pretty bold. Yeah, I think it like the purport is saying, right, it works in two directions. If we, by opening up, like Jamuna Jaya is saying, that solves for so many problems that Prabhupada talks about in so many other purports, that war arises from this fact, and all these conflicts arise from this fact when we kind of think this is my family, my nation, my religion, but that it also, not only is it leading to external strife, but internally it's preventing us from seeing Krishna in everything, right? And that because we get attached to, this is my personal family and my enjoyment, and then we're sort of becoming more enmeshed in the material. So it's sort of working against against our everything in both directions, externally and internally. Timothy, I see you have your hand up, and then back to Jamuna Jaya.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm adding anything new here, or if this is just my own personal interpretation as a householder and I don't know, a family man, I guess. I don't know. I hear in this that Krishna is saying to be detached from your family and put your attention on me, and I don't know. What I hear in that is that by putting what I'm thinking about this is that after putting your shelter in Krishna and being completely single pointed focused on Krishna, Krishna will then, if you are, if your dharma is to be a householder, Krishna will instruct you in your heart then to be loving towards your family and be good to your family. So therefore, you're now doing service to your family on Krishna's behalf and for Krishna's pleasure, and not just for your own self-satisfaction. So you can still, you can still be there for your family and be loving towards your family, but your understanding of why you're doing it is kind of flipped, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. That's yeah, and well stated. Thank you so much. And such a sweet picture of your family there that you have on your screen. I always love that picture. Jamuna Jaya.
And that is, thank you, Timothy, because I will now say this as an add-on to what you said, and to caregiving, which I am, and you thinking of them as not yours, and as Krishna is actually helps you in that caregiving, because there are times if you see them just as humans, that they can be a little quirky and not so loving back to you, even though you're doing what is best for them. And if you just are reminded that this is actually, that this will please Krishna, this is Krishna's child, it actually helps the relationship better, as opposed to, I found, looking at them as their right now temporary person that is going through a hard time. I'm trying to serve them. They're not being so nice back to me, but it's but it doesn't matter, because I'm not looking at, trying not to look at them on that basis. I'm looking at them more as Krishna's part. So just really on what Timothy said, that actually it's actually very helpful to take that step back. And then you really do see it's an honor, especially in those times when those folks can't see or appreciate what you're giving. Your day was hard, and particularly for our sometimes our older relatives and stuff like that. They stop seeing, so it can be difficult. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So much respect, and for those of you who are caregivers, especially for older folks, it's definitely the Lord's work, as they say. Maybe we could switch gears on another part of the verse. Again, in Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti's sort of explanation of what Krishna is thinking, he says, sometimes being busy in their devotional service, they may appear to forget me. However, a pure devotee who has achieved the platform of love for me will always be protected by such sincere devotion. I personally found that very encouraging, because I know, the goal is to always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. But sometimes I find myself beating myself up for forgetting Krishna so much. And it was really sweet, I thought, to sort of feel that forgiveness, and that, that Krishna is saying that if you're sincere, then, it's okay. But also, what did you make of this? They may appear to forget me. Does that mean that as long as that we're, busy in service, that also protects us? I don't know if anyone else was struck by this concept.
Yeah, Prabhupada said, like, if you're absorbed in cooking, you may not be directly thinking of Krishna, but at the end of when everything's prepared, you offer it to Krishna. So that cooking operation, even though you might not be consciously mindful, it's also pleasing to Krishna. Because at the end we offer it, right?
Yeah. Does anyone else have any experiences that way, of that sort of feeling of like almost beating yourself up a little bit for feeling like you're not remembering Krishna enough? Does anyone have any thoughts about how to be kinder to oneself in that regard?
Yeah, I mean, I think like over the past 5 or 6 months, I haven't been well with various things, and I haven't been as spiritual or with my practices as what I like to be. But I think kind of like, you know, I think I kind of feel like Krishna is always there and was always there. My effort and energy wasn't there, but I think, naturally here I am back now. So I feel naturally, you know, you- naturally you'll be where you want to be. You'll find Krishna again by being kind to yourself and realizing it's not a race. It's a journey you're on, and just keep doing the best you can each day.
Yeah, pretty well. Thank you. And it's nice to have you back with us, Dave Hogan. Welcome back. Um, There's some things in the chat. Maybe we could let's see. I think Kimberly, you wrote something. Do you want to read it to us, or if you prefer me to read it, I can read it if you're indisposed or shy, but do you want to read what you wrote to us?
I'm a little shy, but I can answer such a call. Thank you.
Okay, good.
So what I was saying is, this was actually back a point that you were looking at. We sometimes forget that Krishna controls everything. So we might be confused why he takes something away from one person or gives something to another person, or things along these lines, but we may not see or understand the larger picture, the like how he gets from one event to another event, or why he gives these stressors to one person or another person to bring them closer to him, right? We don't always have that, what do you say, insider knowledge.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's I think that's also hard for us to remember a lot because we have, we have these rational reasoning minds, or so-called rational reasoning minds, and we always want to try to figure things out. It seems like a very human tendency, but it's hard to remember, right? Like Ananda Bahari, I don't know if that resonates with you. You asked that question, why is it that why is it that that how do we reconcile? I think you asked these different ways that Krishna appears to deal with different people, and maybe sometimes it doesn't seem fair or make sense rationally. But yeah, Kimberly, I think that's an important reminder that Krishna is in control, and the larger plan may not. The larger plan is definitely not apparent to us, so that's really sweet as well. I don't know, Nanda Bahari, was that your heart, or was that Sundari Radha's heart
Yeah,
flying up?
that was my problem. That's has been my problem. And I have this experience, so many times I've had this experience where I would find myself in a situation where I doubt Krishna, where I'm in fear, I'm in anxiety, which means I doubt that Krishna is my friend and he's in control. And then, but then, at the end of the day, the situation turns out in such a way that I realize very clearly that Krishna has always been there for me. By the way,
Mm,
the situation has turned out, he's always been there. Every time I doubted him, he's been there. Every time I was full of worries, he was there for me. When I was challenging him, he was there for me also. I just didn't have the picture that Kimberly was talking about. I just didn't have the bigger picture in mind.
but then do you find Ananda Bahari that despite him coming through for you every time, that you continue to doubt?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it
You
all really to remembrance and trust, right? But in each of these situations, me too, I go through something and it's almost like that fear and panic. Why can't it just naturally be, okay, Krishna's in control. I'm zooming out. He sees a larger picture. I don't see it, but it's just that tendency to get in that loop. It's like it's just like a muscle we've built for ourselves
yeah.
lifetimes, and now we're trying to create this new muscle. I know myself, like for instance, my PTO event that I ran yesterday, like in the bustling, moving, moving, moving. But the whole time now I try to just like chant as I'm moving and try to bring,
Mm,
because it's so easy to get swooped up in the energy of, all these activities going on. But it's just such a way now to live, to be able to have the holy name and all these little things, right? Like Lord Chaitanya said, bring Krishna into every town and village. So to be able to do that is incredible. But yeah, it's remembering. It's the key.
wow, that was really inspiring. Thank you, my god sister. Definitely. Yeah, building a new muscle of remembrance rather than falling into our conditioning. And conditioning, right, just means like it's the muscle we've already built, the things that we've learned how to do over and over and over again, which is thinking that we could figure something out, that are like, or like things will make sense in our minds. or that we need to somehow be in control of it.
I do have another question too, Venu Jerry. I know we had this talk actually not that long ago about, in the verse it said something to the effect of like, don't get attached to family life. And I know one time I said something and you said Gurudev said something one time about like, you're bringing everybody, your family to Krishna. So Krishna is in the center, but you said it in such a way. I don't know if you remember, because it could be deceiving. Like when you hear that, be like, okay, like detach from my family. They're not mine. So some people could kind of take that in a way of almost like with a negative connotation or do you know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah, I remember it. I was speaking to Gurudev about, my husband is not a devotee, and it's, he's very supportive. But that comes with challenges, and just like there are challenges that come with devotee marriages too. Every marriage is, as Ananda Bihari might know, has its challenges. And it wasn't even so much like something was wrong, but that my Gurudev gave such a wonderful piece of advice and counsel and said, just bring Krishna into your marriage. It's not like you're trying to convert your husband, but just bring Krishna into everything. And it was a really beautiful meditation because it really, like you were saying, Sundari Radha, it on one hand sort of helps me remember Krishna more by thinking of Krishna as part of my marriage, but then also just bringing Krishna in simple ways, like my husband now offers our food, and he loves to bring flowers from the garden and offer them to Krishna, and so just naturally there are small things that he engages in, that are bringing him closer to Krishna too, but that are also bringing Krishna into our marriage. And Gurudev's advice was basically like, just bring Krishna in, and Krishna will take care of everything. So it's also sort of a surrender as well. So it was just one of those, just like Krishna accomplishes many things with one action, Gurudev accomplishes many many things with one piece of advice. So it was really, thank you for remembering it. I hope it helps others on this call. I saw some hearts going up there in recognition.
I remember I complained once to a friend of mine that my wife wasn't devotional enough. She doesn't wake up early. She doesn't know shlokas by heart and this and that. And he said, Prabhu, in the family, you represent Krishna. And the fact that your wife, you have this perception that she's not devotional enough is because you represent Krishna in such a twisted way. You're being such a jerk, such a fanatic, that she's not inspired. It's your fault. That's one interesting instance that I've had. That was very helpful.
So maybe before the curtain will hopefully end on a beautiful note from Kartik Prabhu in the chat. Quote, hold on tightly, let go lightly. Serve them like they are your family. Let go, remembering that they are really in Krishna's family. Beautiful.
Jai.
Yeah.
Adipur looks like he would like to speak in line with Guru Sadhan Shastra.
Adi, Adi, Adi.
As soon as we flip the switch about what am I getting from this situation, do I like it? And to, Lord, thank you for this exactly how it is. How can I serve you under this circumstance? As soon as we flip the switch to service, everything else falls into place. This is in line with what everybody's already said, but we're just trying to, it's called emphasis. Yeah, Krishna.
Yeah, I think that's a great thought for this entire purport. It's like flip the switch, right?
Service.
Flip the switch to service, flip the switch from my family to everyone's family, and flip the switch from this belongs to me to this belongs to Krishna. Hari Bol. My favorite conch blower. You could turn your cameras on, please, dear devotees, to be greeted by the Lord.
Haribo! Vedam Kandarpam Vindadalayatasam Bhagavatam Sam Buddhasundarangam Kandarpakoti Kamaniya Vishesha Sova Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Anjani Yaksha Sakalim Priyavritimamti Pasyanti Pan Kayanti Tiram Jaganti Anadajimaya Sadhu Phalabhigrahasya Govindam Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Purusham Tamaham.
What's that laundry?
Oh, now you're muted.
I was asking about that laundry cart. Adipusha, what is it? Are you pushing it for Krishna?
All right. While we wait for the answer. Oops, am I muted? No. Welcome, dear devotees, to the afterglow, full of laundry carts for the Lord. Does anybody have any final reflections? It was so nice to hear from so many of you today. Dave, Sadhvi, Kimberly, in addition to our usual suspects. Does anyone else want to chime in who maybe we don't hear from? Pink Yogi of Harlem, anything you want to add? Shani, welcome. So nice to see you here. Didn't get to greet you when you came in.
Sadhvi has her hand up.
Satvi.
Yes. What I'm going to say is what I have learned and felt is we are here for Krishna's enjoyment. And I'm looking, I personally do it. I don't say it's right, but I think it that way. Here is a theater scene, and we all are actor, where Krishna has chosen us to act the way he wanted, the way he's enjoying it. Just play the role nice. Just please him by you playing your role nice. Everything else will fall on the place perfectly. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Radhi Didi, you're full of so much wisdom every day, especially this morning. Thank you for blessing us with this perspective. Yeah, I've heard this before too. It's such a beautiful way to think of the Lord as a director. Like if you think of actors and actresses, they just want to get the part right. You know, they're just trying to get it the way the director wants it. And so if we think about that, everything is already set up. You know, this movie is being made by the Lord. We just need to play our parts in a way that He is directing us to. So it's a really nice, really nice reflection.
I just wanted to
Go
reflect
for
on
it.
how now serves all. So just to really see how when puts his life or her life to Krishna without even asking or telling your partner or children to do things, just by them seeing you, how much Krishna really works his magic. Even I know now my husband prays every night because of it. He'll see a watermelon and ask me if it's offered first. So that awareness, I hours for an event at her school, and she told the child, she said, no, you can't smell it first. I have to go offer it when I get home. And I didn't tell her, well, no, I did, I did tell her that, but, just little things, you'll see we'll be out and she'll have a juice box and say, Mommy, it's not offered, and I tell her, okay, in your head, think of Krishna or so. And again, this is just by living life every day. It's not by like, going to classes or, and just how much mercy Krishna has just by living your life a certain way. And he just works his magic. And it's just so beautiful. And you did such a wonderful job, Venu Majori, giving class today and really a prompt too. And the verse was so long and so detailed. And you really just did a wonderful wonderful job at engaging all the devotees. And I thank you for that.
Thank you so much for encouraging me, and thank you so much for your support, and especially in all things YouTube and Zoom. I'm getting there. Yay, Haribol. Okay, Adi, you look like you want to say some closing words here.
No, one comment.
The laundry cart. You're going to let us know.
There's a cart demon in the laundry cart.
One comment about on the tail of Sadhvi's mentioning about play your part. There's an old producer, Cecil B. DeMille. He's made a lot of big movies, and he said, you know what I've learned with movies, and I'm trying to do it in my life. When we do a scene, and it doesn't work right, we say cut, take two, and they.
Right.
When we were kids, we used to say, do over, do over, do
Do
over.
over.
So like if you do something happens and you think, why did I say that? What was I thinking? And then if we could do that in our life, like he said, and I just so take two, take three, take four, just do it again until you get it right. Don't just say, oh, we did it, now it's ruined and forget it. I'm thinking like, that's really cool. I could just say, do over, do over.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
and it's not
Yeah.
difficult, really, because
That.
you messed it up. You messed it up. So okay, can we be open enough with each other, and that we have this do-over chant mantra that we can say, all right, wait, start all over again. I actually did that last night with somebody that was getting into it. I said, wait a minute, start all over again. Hello, what's your name?
Take it from the top.
Yeah, take it from the top. Forget.
Yeah, I think that relates so nicely to what Ananda Bihari was saying about, how we lose faith in Krishna, or we think he's not there for us, and then every time he shows that he's there for us, and that if we could just sort of say, when that happens, like when we lose faith or we have doubts, we just say, cut, do over. That's the flipping of the switch that allows us to build the new muscles that Sundari Radha was talking about, right? It's like we have, wait, we can do it again. We have more opportunities. So by Krishna's mercy. I see the junior choir is coming into place,
Okay.
and I saw Isabel earlier. I keep calling you Isabel, Annabelle. I'm so sorry. I keep putting Isabel and Isaiah and Annabelle together. Annabelle, I see you as your brother Isaiah there, Sage in Sky, the junior choir, inspiring devotees around the world. Take it from the top. Make sure it's loud as you can.
1, 2, 3. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Haribo.
Thank
Thank
you
you
very much
all
for
so
today. Hare
much.
Krishna.
Okay. I hope everybody has a wonderful day, a wonderful weekend. Give it to Krishna. And we'll see you here tomorrow when there will be a much more qualified speaker. Jai. Jai Prabhupada. Haribo.